Welcome to Life Happens, where Texans come to protect their legacy and prepare for the second half of life. Join your host, attorney Kim Hegwood of Your Legacy Legal Care, and our weekly guest as we navigate the challenges that emerge as life happens. Now here's your host, Kim Hegwood.
Good morning and welcome to Life Happens with me, Kim Hegwood, and our very special guest today is Shehnaz Kapasi. Good morning.
Good morning, Kim. How are you?
And super excited to have you on the show today because you're doing something that I really like. And
Likewise, I'm excited to share.
yeah, so we're going to talk about home care with a twist because I like that. That's a nice title. And so your company is different than the normal traditional, home care company. Uh, you actually hire seniors to care for other seniors, which I think is phenomenal. And but what gave you that idea? What's behind that?
So, Seniors Helping Seniors is a franchise. So, it is the owner is Namrata and Kiran Phillip. When she started Seniors Helping Seniors, basically she had the pleasure of working with Mother Teresa when in her childhood days. Must be some college or a school event. So when she retired, she wanted to give back to the community, and that's when she started Seniors Helping Seniors. But the philosophy is what is very important, and it's very calling because it's focused, and the main philosophy is that we're rooted to compassion, joy, and dignity. So that's what Seniors Helping Seniors is all about. We we tend we believe in hiring active, matured senior caregivers who actually understand what it is to and what the challenges a senior is going through while they're aging. So it's having matured adult caregivers. They bring first-hand life experiences that help the seniors build that trust that they want to see from a caregiver that's coming to help them while they're facing some challenges in life. So it's a beautiful model of the company, and I think it's very calling. Seniors helping seniors. It's really working well.
And I think it would be because they have a lot in common in the sense of, they have more things to talk about. I think because they're, the same age and things like that, where, you find that a lot of older people have a harder time, conversing or having conversations with younger because the generations are so different.
Yeah,
And
the
so,
language, what the younger generation is now talking, is not easy for us to understand. But when the caregivers are of the same kind of age and the generation, then they have a lot of common. They can talk about some music that they liked in the past, some movies, changing city scenarios, and college stuff. So they have a lot in common to share. I agree.
yeah. So, so having seniors that are closer to the caregiver age, do you think that's better? Is it more beneficial to that person that's being cared for?
I've actually seen that in being in the leadership role for the last 5 years. They build that kind of trust. I feel as if they can sense it, they see it in the eyes of the caregiver that's coming to help them. They kind of bond easily. There is good chemistry that goes on because the senior caregivers that come in, they come with so much real life experiences. Probably they've experienced something from their own loved one, the same medical history or the same challenge what they come in to help. And so that builds a good trust and a bond, and it's a win-win situation for both. The person who's receiving the care, they can feel that they're getting so much of kindness, patience, because that's more important when you have to help somebody who's a senior. And it's very meaningful for the caregiver who's giving, because they are doing it because they want to give back to the community. It's a purpose that they see, which is very gratifying for them, that I'm going to go there today and help somebody and bring a smile to their face. I mean, that's the motivation they have. So it's a win-win situation for both, whether
Yeah,
it's receiving the care or giving the care.
yeah, I would think so too. So, what's the number one thing that families hire your caregivers to do?
Um, we do achieve and we do help out with a lot of things, but the number one thing that a senior is looking for is that companionship, that friendship, that one-on-one love, and the attention that they are really looking to get. And So, Seniors Helping Seniors is a non medical home care company, and we help with the challenges what a senior goes through, the activities of daily living. So, whether it's help with the shower assist, meal preparation, taking them for any of their own personal errands, or whether it's driving them for doctor's appointments, because sometimes the loved ones are not in the same city. So, kind of, we step in and be the second family, like it's more like a friendship that we help out. So these are the basic services that we offer to a senior, and it's one-on-one care, whether you're living in a facility or whether you're living in your own home. We want to make sure that we help with all your needs. And so it's a non-medical home care company. Even medication reminders, we can help with that.
So I'm sure that this question comes up, a lot when you're thinking about seniors versus, taking care of seniors. But how do you know that senior caregiver, that you've hired is up for the job?
So we basically have we do the extensive hiring process, whether it's screening, background check, work references. We also invite them over to the office, obviously, so we have to see how physically strong they are and capable they are. So that kind of gives us a good idea as to whether this caregiver will fit the role of just a companion, or whether, I mean, and we do have certified nurse aides that help out. So when it comes to a bed bound situation or more of a little skilled care where they have to do a sponge bath, then we place certified nurse aide, the CNAs, on the job. But when it's for traditional companionship and care, then these caregivers, they are so honest, and we know basically by meeting them as to what role they can really assist with, whether it's just companionship, meal prep, just helping them go to the church, or just reading the Bible, or watching a movie with them, or just chatting with them. So those kind of services then we put. So we kind of match our caregivers based on the needs of the client. So it helps us understand whether this caregiver can really do the job that is needed by the senior. So it's always kind of matching the strengths to the need that is required. And a thorough job assessment is done. And I always let my caregivers shadow before they start the care, because if I would send a caregiver without knowing the situation, what they're going in, then it's going to be a failure. And I don't think so. A client is going to be more comfortable. So it's best to let them shadow and see what responsibility is expected, so they know whether they can do it. And my mature senior caregivers are very honest. They always tell me, listen, the condition is changing. I don't think so I can step in and help out, because now it's dangerous, because the senior needs more support. Like as the health declines, then we change the caregiver then based on the situation and the health condition.
So I found that I've been asking, the people that have been on the show lately is what made you decide to do this type of home care? Because what I'm finding with people that work with seniors is there's always a story. There's always something that triggered you to say, this is the type of home care, company I'd like to have. And what was it for you?
Um, yeah, everybody has a story, and I do have a story, but I'll try to keep it short. I used to be in the banking industry, and obviously, when I decided to have something of my own where I wanted to help with elderly people, because my dad is also aging, he's in his 90s. When I saw this Seniors Helping Seniors, which is a franchise all over the United States, I felt the name is very calling. I was intrigued, and I was like, what is Seniors Helping Seniors? And when I did a research and I saw that, okay, it's mature caregivers that are supporting the more seniors that need the care, I felt it's a very gratifying job. And if I have to manage caregivers that are looking for some supplemental income, but they're actually giving out so much of love and attention to a senior who's aging and facing through challenges, I thought I would be in a good position where I'm making two people happy: the person who's needing that extra job and help because they want to give back to the community, and the person who's receiving the care. I think that's so important. There is people who will just be caregivers just for a paycheck. I don't believe in that. I feel a caregiver senior needs so much of attention, so much of patience. And when we hire caregivers, we try to get that inner voice, whether they are really willing to give back, and they are doing it this because they are really enjoying what they want to do, is they want to go and help out a senior. So I felt this was the best place to be in, and I felt it was a very important thing. The philosophy and the model of the company is just perfect. Having active senior caregivers help the more inactive ones. There cannot be anything better than this.
Definitely. So, you got a story for our listeners of how a senior caregiver has, made a huge impact on a client that's really resonated with you?
Yes, there are many. I was in fact thinking how many can I share, but I'll share one with you also. Is that we had a caregiver. She was in her early 70s, so she was doing a purely companionship job for a client. The client was going through a little personal crisis, emotional, because she had lost her husband. Now she has to find a place, in assisted living to live in. So in the transition, they had to have her stay at her own daughter's house. And then when she moved to this community, she was a little very quiet and lonely. And then obviously we came in just as a companionship company that was helping her out. And we tried to figure out what could make her happy, what kind of activities she would like to be indulged in. And so we sent the Scrabble, the word game, to my caregiver. We shipped it to her house, and then we said, "Why don't you see if she likes to play it?" Because that's what I heard that she likes, word puzzles and everything. When my caregiver showed it to her, she was so joyful about having to play and enjoy the time with her. In fact, then she called my caregiver and she said over the weekend, and she said, "Gloria, can you go back and read the manual, because I'm thinking we're forgetting some rules, because in certain letters that's twice the points, and certain letters have less points." And Gloria said, "Okay, absolutely, I will study it." And then when they played in the community, sometimes they were playing it in the lobby, and now they had a crowd coming in and playing. So the director of the facility called me and she said, "Shinaz, this is so amazing. It's not that she's just having a companion, but now they can spend hours together because now they have a crowd." So now they arrange for 4 people playing the Scrabble game. And it
Good.
was like everybody, it was like she made more friends through that, right? She was no longer lonely with my caregiver, but now she made friends in the community because now everybody could take turns of playing the game. So
That's awesome. I'm not good at Scrabble, so I'm glad somebody is.
I
It's,
enjoyed it. So yeah, it was a game that we used to play during COVID.
oh yeah. So no, I got to work during COVID. So so and this has been fantastic. So if somebody wants to hire a senior caregiver, so how do they find you?
You can go on to my website, which is theseniorcarefordbend.com. And I can also share with you my phone number, which is very easy, 832-830-6940. Just call for Shehnaz Kapasi, and I'll try my best to help out any seniors that need help.
Perfect. And so this has been great. I'm so glad to have you on the show today, and we look forward to having you on again soon.
Thank you so much, Kim. It was nice meeting with you.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Life Happens with Kim Hegwood. Be sure to tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. wherever you listen to your podcasts as we navigate through the challenges that emerge as life happens. The content of this podcast does not establish an attorney-client relationship or constitute attorney-client privilege, legal, medical, financial, or any other professional advice.